Brady's on the cover of the new Madden game.
Yep.
Do you believe in this curse? Do you think it's going to be an issue or what?
Curse? The man already got 5 championships. How you curse a guy with 5 championships?
You are watching a master at work.
Brady's back! That's your quarterback! My God!
You've had a long and unbelievable partnership with Tom Brady. What are your thoughts on Tom Brady?
A really special player to coach. Tom works very hard. He's very smart. He's trained hard. He's worked hard on his throwing mechanics. He's worked hard on his mental understanding of the game and process. He's earned everything that he's achieved, but wasn't always there. He's not a great natural athlete. He's a very smart, instinctive football player.
But he might end up being the greatest of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not all about talent. It's about dependability, consistency, and being able to improve. Again, and if you work hard and you understand, you're coachable and you understand what you need to do, you can improve.
From a fan's perspective, what a great game to watch and to see Tom in his greatness on display one more time. I mean, he didn't need to win that to prove that he's the GOAT, but just another part of his legacy.
Did we just see this game? That he came back from 25?
Yep.
Unbelievable, man. That guy, you know, it's an honor to get to play with a guy like that. He's an unbelievable leader. You know, that man's been through a lot this year. And know what I'm more proud about? What did he do on that podium?
He did the right thing.
He didn't do anything. He accepted, you know, with a smile. He's a gentleman. He's a role model. I mean, the man's unbelievable. Everyone should look up to a guy like that.
For Tom Brady, the benefit has been he's been in whatever 10, 11 AFC Championship games. He's been in 7 Super Bowls, and it's not over yet. And so at the end of the day, he's going to have more of these than everyone else. And so when you're getting a conversation of best, you know, there'll be people that say, well, I still think so-and-so is better or this and that. But I just don't know how you argue when you're at that level and everybody's great. Something's got to delineate between who's the greatest and you know who's everybody else. And the fact that you play in 7 Super Bowls, which I mean is ridiculous. I mean it's ridiculous. If you win 5 and who knows if he wins more. He wins more than anybody that's ever played the quarterback. I mean those things to me, you know, fair or unfair, you can go back and go, why did you put Dan Marino in this? Well, Dan Marino didn't get to play in this. So you can speculate all you want, but Tom got this, and this is what he did with it.
You know, just watching the game last night, Tom Brady really inspired me. The reason is because I know how hard he worked. And he look, we had the game. Atlanta had the game, but, you know, a guy like Tom, man, it's just a testament to how hard he worked.
Hey, listen, I've never done it before, but I would love to get a jersey at some point. I mean,
Let's do it. I'll get you after the game.
I won. I'm with my office.
I've been the same way.
Wish you the best.
Good luck.
Hopefully we see you again, all right?
Yeah.
Take care
Look forward. Take care.
The greater the pressure, the better he performs. You know, I saw that his first year, 17 years ago. We're playing golf competitively. He was my partner, thank God. And on the 16th hole, he had to make like a 17-foot putt. And there was another NFL player playing with us who's in the same range. Tommy's son. It's just the way it is.
Do you think that even a Brady who's a little less than his best would still maybe be better than the next guy?
I think Brady, 75% of Brady is better than 100% of the other quarterbacks. Let's put it that way. That's how good he is, and that's what he means to New England.
We're in the locker room with a walking legend, and most wins in quarterback history in the NFL, and he still comes to work like he haven't come to anything. So, I look up to that, and much respect and congratulations.
It goes without saying that Brady will be in the discussion if he's not already as one of the best of all time.
I think he's the greatest.
If not the best.
Do you? I do. I think he's the greatest that ever played the game.
I absolutely admire Tom Brady. I love watching him play. I love playing against him. I think because of who he is and how he's went about his business, he brings the best out of us because we want to get that to him. And what we did to him in that Super Bowl, for the fact of the matter, we hit him sometimes where it was like he's not getting up, and he just got up. He might have cussed his O-line out, but to be able to stay in that game and do it, and he threw a ball in the fourth quarter to Randy Moss. The ball traveled like 75 yards or something like that, and that was right after Jay Alford had literally broke him in half. And I got the utmost respect for him. I think, obviously he's one of the best to ever do it. But more than that, man, that whole tough label is warranted, for sure.
Well, Tom Brady is the greatest of all time. There's no doubt in my mind. For years, I thought it was Joe Montana, but over the last few years, Tom Brady has surpassed that. And what is surprising, as I've studied Tom throughout his career, and particularly late, he's gotten better. I mean, I look for guys to have diminished arm strength, less accuracy. Tom's getting better. And his pocket mobility is better at 39. So, I mean, he's a guy that's defying the odds, and it couldn't happen to me if a better person. You know, Tom is not only a great player, but he handles himself with utmost professionalism.
You saw him at the combine. You saw that body. You said, how did that do this? How did that body do this thing? The greatest story in NFL history, and it's topped with the unprecedented 5th Super Bowl ring. Tom Brady, that's a mic drop. That's Oodie Doody great. That's out of hand, man. And we shouldn't even be having a conversation about second, or third, or 1 ring, or 2 rings. Man, you're talking about 5 rings. I haven't even heard Joe Montana name this year because Tom Brady name has supplanted.
How great is Brady?
I already said Brady's the best of all time.
What makes him, or when did he become the best of all time?
I think he always thought he was the best of all time, so he approached everything like the greatest. And
Tom Brady is the greatest football player to ever play. When you can play that good, that consistently great, year after year after year after year, game after game after game after game. I mean, nobody's ever done it. Nobody's ever done it like Tom Brady. He's the best of all time.
Well, I will put it in this perspective that until 2 weeks ago, if anyone ever asked me who I thought the greatest quarterback was, it was always an easy answer. It was Joe Montana. And now, regardless of what happens on Sunday, I've changed my tune. He's done way too much. He's been in too many championship games. He's been in too many Super Bowls. And I think he's the greatest that's ever played our sport at that position. And I really cannot put it into context. I don't think anybody really can, because those of us that won multiple Super Bowls, we pretty much did it with the same core guys. I certainly did with Michael and Emmett and Darryl Johnston and Jay Novacek and all those great players. And Bradshaw did for the most part, as did Joe Montana. But for Brady, like you pointed out, he's done it with different guys multiple times. And to still win, and the constant being Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, I think really kind of underscores how great he is and how he elevates the play of those guys around.
The secret to their success is pretty easy. It's Tom Brady. He is a stone cold killer. I've shared the field with him many times, and the biggest thing about Tom is he is going to make you pay when you make mistakes.
Well, just for the fact that everybody plays through something. From week 1 all the way to the end of the season, everybody plays through something. 2008, the year he got hurt with his knee, the following week, he was in the locker room with a knee brace on, early in the morning, taking a 3, 5, 7-step drop in the locker room.
With an ACL tear.
With an ACL tear. I'm catching this ball, so I seen it with my own eyes, and I couldn't believe it. I said, man, you're going on IR. He's like, no, Randy, I want to try to play. And then he's played with broken fingers. So a lot of times where you see a lot of these quarterbacks, especially these new generation quarterbacks, that, okay, your ankle's bothering you, we'll sit you down. Your shoulders bothering you, we'll sit you down. I think he's still the old school quarterback that will play through anything. And I think a lot of people gets that mixed up.
He piles on stats and wins and everything on his resume. Obviously, he's probably going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. So, I mean, like I said, man, as long as you have that guy on your team,
You're the greatest of all time.
We're here.
You're the greatest, and you're the greatest.
nah, it ain't crazy. He's the greatest quarterback ever.
And then when it got to overtime, man, I basically untied my cleats and watched Brady like you guys did.
I'm looking at his body of work. Joe went to 4 Super Bowls in 16 years. Tom went to 7 in 17 years. Okay, advantage Tom. Tom won 4, Joe won 4. He was a 3-time MVP in the Super Bowl, so was Tom. Tom was a 2-time league MVP, so was Joe. Okay, now you start looking, Skip, okay, what about the division title? What about the AFC Championship game that Tom appeared in? 24-9 going into that game. So for me, he was already the greatest quarterback, but I told you this also. I said, Skip, if he wins this game and he's the MVP, he passes Jerry, He passes LT, and a lot of people say Jim Brown. Tom Brady is the greatest football player in the 97-year history of the NFL. There's nothing else to debate.
And I feel like Tom Brady is the GOAT, probably the best player I've seen so far.
The NFL just 3 years short of a century, and Tom Brady, as it stands right now, the best there is, the best there was, the best that ever will be.
The game ain't over till it's over. You know, you got to play the game out, and you know, as a fan watching the game, you see the ups and downs, but you see the momentum start to change a little bit when he was able to get that first score. So you never count him out. When you share some same qualities and common things, and the respect just automatically kicks in. So happy for him, and you know, it was great to watch.
You know, Tom Brady, you know, if you start talking trash to him, you know, he'll put 21 up on you fast. And so I just try to, you know.
If you talk trash to Brady, he's got 21 points on
there.
Yeah,
he's going to put it up fast. So I just try to do my job, and I just try to get in and out.
Is he the greatest of all time? He deferred and said, no, I have a problem being called that. So listen, you're the greatest DB of all time. So
yeah, you got that right. You got that right, and I didn't stutter. And I'm glad you said it, and I'm going to echo that. See, Tom Brady's much different than I. He's much more laid back, recluse, little, you know, until you get to know him, because he's a dog and he's a competitor, and he lets you know he is good. Now, I would have answered that question, you darn skippy. I'm the greatest of all time. Matter of fact, I'm the best thing since peanut butter and jelly. But Tom Brady's not going to take it. It's the Patriot way to kind of humble yourself and let other people glorify you and gratify you and give you all the praise and the honor. But no, I would have said yes. But Tom Brady, he answered that question correctly. It is not proper to answer that question while you're still playing the game. Now, when he retires, he can answer that question, but not while you're still playing the game.
I'll answer it for him. You were the best DB that's ever played this game. Tom Brady's the best quarterback that's ever played this game. End of discussion. I'll say it for him. Anyone that knows this game.
If you're a fan of football, it's hard not to be a fan of Tom Brady. I think he obviously got the respect of everybody around the league, every fan, every player. He does things at a high level, and he's done it for a long, long time, and seems to go about it the right way. Great role model for any kid at any level playing the position. So a lot of respect.
Yeah, but one thing about him as opposed to a lot of other quarterbacks, because one thing, when it's no better feeling as an athlete when you know you're dominating a team or some guy so much and you can look in his eye and you can tell he's like, I don't want to be here. And Brady never had that look. Some of his guys did. But he never had that look. And that's the one thing I respect about him. This guy, he's a competitor, man. And as pretty as he is, as beautiful as his family is, his pretty wife, you know, quarterback get all pretty women. He is a fierce competitor. And I think we all walked out of that game as winners, of course, but with a lot more respect for him in that.
But you just signed a $100 million contract. The last thing you're thinking is this 6th-round pick out of Michigan is going to take your job.
No, that was last thing on my mind. And, you know, I was an open book, you know, for him at that point. Turns out maybe I should have held some stuff back a little bit. But, no, you know, he's a wonderful guy. And, you know, when you talk about, you know, his legacy and what he's done there, to me, it's more about the attitude, the work ethic, and the leadership than it is really about what he does on the field. You know, I mean, you know, the game the other day, you know, there weren't a bunch of, you know, mind-blowing throws. It was mostly stuff that was close to the line of scrimmage. You know, and there were even one particularly poor throw, you know, but in terms of his legacy, it's far more about what he's supplied in terms of leadership to that organization than it is about what he's done on the field.
Who's my top?
Yes.
The guy who won it, Tom Brady.
Okay, I mean,
yes, I think
the
that's
guy
I think that's very simple.
But I mean, should we really live in the rings the thing?
I'm not looking at the ring as the thing. I'm just looking at what he has orchestrated over a consistent period of time, and also age discriminating, looking at his age, his body of work, what he's doing.
He's one of the greatest of all time. There's no question. I mean, this is his 6th Super Bowl, more than any other quarterback. That's about as good as you get.
What does he have?
His qualities.
Yeah.
He's well. I think if you look at his career, number one, consistency. You know, from year to year, that team knows how to win.
You know, Tom Brady's still probably the best quarterback to ever play the game. So no matter what, his legacy will never be tarnished.
You know, but this year, man, the way he looks now, I believe him. He can play 10 more years. I mean,
10 more?
He looks good. He looks good. You got to see him, man. He looks good. I mean, I know Giselle stopped modeling. Maybe he's going into modeling now.
Maybe
he's
that's
lost
what he's
weight,
doing.
and
maybe that's what he's doing.
I mean, he just looks great, man, and he's moving very well.
I remember your wife saying, when I met my husband, he said he wanted to play 10 more years. That was 5 years ago. And he still wants to play 10 more years. And she's trying to talk me into telling you to retire at some point. But what drives you?
First of all, I love the game. So I just can't imagine doing anything else at this point. I mean, I love my family to death. I love my kids. I love being with my wife. I mean, I love spending the time, you know, with my wife and my kids. But I'm not going to do that 24 hours a day. So, and I really don't have much of an interest in anything else. I hate to say it, but it's kind of in a lot of ways, you're doing just fine.
Yeah, can I help you? Hey, are you, Tom Brady? Yeah.
Take your goddamn teddy bear with you! Holy shit, perfect smile!
This skinny beanpole of a young man walked over to me and said, "Hi, Mr. Kraft. I want to introduce myself. I'm Tom Brady." I said, "I know who you are. You're our 6th-round draft choice." And I always remember he looked me like a laser, eye to eye, and he said, "That's right, and I'm the best decision this organization has ever made."